If you just moved to the United States, or if you are planning to move soon, I need you to stop whatever you are doing and watch this entire video, because the 5 mistakes I am about to share with you, they have quietly cost thousands of immigrants hundreds of dollars, damaged their financial futures, and in some cases kept them locked out of the banking system for years. And the worst part? None of these people even knew they were making a mistake. They thought they were doing everything right. I am going to break all of this down for you in very simple language. No confusing finance terms, no jargon, just real, honest, practical information that you can use starting today. So let us get into it. The first mistake is one that almost nobody talks about, and it is probably the most dangerous one on this entire list. It is called the ChexSystems trap. Here is what happens. You arrive in America. You are excited. You go to a bank, maybe Chase, maybe Wells Fargo. You try to open a checking account, and they say no, and you are standing there thinking, why? I have money. I have my passport. I have my documents. What is the problem? Here is what they do not explain to you. Almost every bank in America uses a system called ChexSystems. Think of it like a secret blacklist for banking. It is not your credit score. It is a completely separate report that tracks your banking behavior. And if you ever had a bank account in the United States, even years ago, even at a small bank, and you had an unpaid overdraft fee, a bounced check, or any kind of negative balance that was never resolved, that information sits in ChexSystems for up to 5 years. Now here is where this becomes a real problem for immigrants. Let us say you came to America as a student 5 years ago. You opened a small account. You forgot about a $30 overdraft fee when you left the country, and you never paid it. Fast forward to today, you are back, you have a job, you have money, and you are being rejected from every bank you visit. That $30 fee from years ago is the reason why, and nobody told you. The solution is simple but specific. If you have been rejected from a bank and you do not understand why, go to the official ChexSystems website and request your free consumer report. You are entitled to 1 free copy every year. Look through it carefully. If there is an unpaid fee listed, contact that bank and pay it off. Once it is resolved, you can request an update to your record. In the meantime, look for banks that do not use ChexSystems at all. Chime, Capital One 360, and SoFi are all good examples. These accounts have no monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and they do not screen you through ChexSystems. You can get started immediately. Now let us talk about the second mistake, and this one surprises almost everyone I talk to. I call it the online bank myth. Here is the situation. You go to the Chase website or the Bank of America website and you try to open an account online. You fill out the form, you get to the field that asks for your social security number, and you do not have one. So the system rejects you. And you think, okay, this bank does not accept immigrants. I need to go find a different bank. But here is the thing. That is not true. Banks like Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, PNC, and Citibank all accept immigrants without a social security number. They will accept an ITIN instead. An ITIN is an individual taxpayer identification number issued by the IRS. It starts with the number 9 and it looks just like a social security number. Many immigrants who file taxes already have one without even realizing how powerful it is. The real problem is not the bank's policy. The problem is their website. The online application systems at most major banks are simply not built to process applications without a social security number. The software is not designed for it. So the website rejects you automatically, even though the bank itself would happily open an account for you. The secret is this: do not apply online. Call the bank first and say exactly these words. I am an immigrant. I have an ITIN and a passport. I would like to open a checking account. Can I do that at your branch? That one question will save you hours of confusion. Then go in person, bring your passport, your ITIN, and proof of your US address, something like a lease agreement or a utility bill. And in most cases that same day, you walk out with an open account. If you do not have an ITIN yet, that is okay. You can apply for one using IRS Form W-7, which is available on the IRS website for free. It takes some time to process, but it is worth doing early because it opens so many financial doors for you. Moving on to the third mistake, and this one is going to shock a lot of you because it is the opposite of what most people believe. The myth here is that you need to carry a balance on your credit card to build your credit score. I cannot tell you how many immigrants and students I have spoken to who genuinely believe this. They have been told by a friend, or they read it somewhere online, that if you pay your credit card bill in full every month, you are not building credit. And so they leave a balance on purpose. They intentionally do not pay it off. And then they are confused months later when they realize they are being charged interest on that balance. Let me be very clear about this. You do not need to carry a balance to build credit in the United States. That is a myth. It costs you real money and interest, and it actually does not help your score. Here is how it actually works. Your credit score is built by doing three things consistently: using your credit card regularly, paying the full balance on time every single month, and keeping your usage low, meaning you should never use more than 30% of your credit limit. Ideally, keep it under 10%. So if you have a secured credit card with a $500 limit, try to spend no more than $50 to $100 on it each month. Use it for something small: groceries, a subscription, gas. Then pay the whole bill on time every month automatically if possible. That is it. That is the formula. Within 6 months, you will have your first FICO score. Within 12 to 18 months, you can qualify for a real unsecured credit card with rewards. And within 2 years, you can be looking at an apartment or a car loan with a genuinely good score. And if you are wondering where to start, if you have zero credit history and no one will give you a card, get a secured credit card. You deposit $200 to $500 as collateral, and that deposit becomes your spending limit. Some great options right now include the Discover It secured card and the Capital One Platinum secured card. These report to all 3 credit bureaus every month, which is exactly what you need. Now here is the fourth mistake, and this one is brand new. Most immigrants have no idea this has changed. I am calling it the 2026 remittance bomb, and it affects millions of people who send money back home to their families. If you regularly send money to your family in Pakistan, India, Mexico, the Philippines, Nigeria, or anywhere else in the world, listen very carefully. Starting January 1st, 2026, a new federal law went into effect in the United States. It is called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And under this law, if you send money internationally using cash, a money order, or a cashier's check through services like Western Union or MoneyGram, there is now a 1% federal tax on top of whatever fees you were already paying. Now, 1% might sound small, but think about it this way. If you send $500 home every month, that is an extra $60 per year in tax, just from this one change. And that is on top of the transfer fee, and on top of the exchange rate difference. It adds up fast. But here is the important thing to understand. This tax only applies when you fund the transfer with cash. It does not apply if you send money digitally from your US bank account or through apps like Wise, Remitly, or Zoom. If the money comes from your bank account, you are completely exempt from this tax. So the fix is simple. Stop sending money home with cash at a Western Union counter. Open a proper US bank account, which we already talked about. Link it to an app like Wise or Remitly and send your money from there. You save the 1% tax, you usually get better exchange rates, and you pay lower fees. It is a straightforward win in every direction. And now we come to the fifth mistake, and honestly this might be the most emotionally painful one because it is not about a bad decision, it is about a feeling. When you first arrive in the United States with no credit history and you get rejected for an apartment or a phone plan or a credit card, it feels like the system is telling you that you are not good enough, that you did something wrong, that you are somehow less than others. But I want you to hear this very clearly. Having no credit history in America is not the same as having bad credit. These are two completely different things. Bad credit happens when someone has borrowed money and failed to pay it back. It takes years to recover from bad credit. It is genuinely a serious financial problem. No credit history means the system simply does not know you yet. You are what the industry calls credit invisible. You have not done anything wrong. You just have not had the chance to prove yourself inside this system yet. And the good news is that this is one of the fastest problems in personal finance to fix. Here is the reality. With just a $200 secured credit card, used correctly, you can have your first credit score within 6 months. By the end of your first year, with consistent payments and low utilization, most immigrants reach a score between 650 and 700. That is enough to qualify for a real credit card, a car loan, and most apartment rentals. By the end of year 2, if you have kept up the good habits and maybe added a credit builder loan, which is another simple tool where the bank essentially helps you save money while simultaneously building your credit history, you can realistically be sitting at 720, 750, even higher. And here is something even more powerful that most people do not know. If you have a spouse, a family member, or even a close friend who has been living in the United States and has a good credit score, ask them to add you as an authorized user on their credit card. You do not even need to use the card. Just being listed as an authorized user means that card's entire payment history can be added to your credit report. This is a completely legal and legitimate strategy that can jumpstart your credit score almost overnight. So let me bring this all together because I want you to leave this video with a clear picture of what to do next. The 5 mistakes are: falling into the ChexSystems trap without knowing it exists, trying to apply for a bank account online instead of going in person with your documents, believing the myth that you need to carry a credit card balance to build credit, continuing to send money home via cash services when the new 2026 tax now applies to those transfers, and letting the feeling of rejection make you think you have bad credit when you are actually just credit invisible. Every single one of these mistakes is avoidable, and every single one of them has a clear, simple solution that you can start working on today. The United States financial system was not designed with immigrants in mind. Nobody hands you a guide when you land at the airport. Nobody explains ChexSystems or ITINs or credit utilization at your orientation. You have to find this information yourself, which is exactly why I make these videos. If this helped you, and I genuinely hope it did, please share it with someone who just arrived in America or someone who is planning to come soon. You might save them years of confusion and hundreds of dollars just by sending them this video. And if you have a question, or if there is a specific financial topic you want me to cover next, drop it in the comments. I read everything, and I build my content around what you actually need to know. See you in the next one.